That raw, soulful, and undeniably powerful voice is one of the first things that come to mind when you hear Michael English's name. His singing combines both gentleness and intensity, and his vocal runs are deeply emotional. For many years, he was one of the most recognized figures in the Gaither Vocal Band, Southern Gospel, and Contemporary Christian Music, CCM. But Michael's story is about much more than just his musical talent. It's about personal failure, public humiliation, painful recovery, and steadfast grace. To understand Michael English is to understand a man who has known both praise and criticism, freedom and exaltation, destruction and rebuilding. Millions have found inspiration in his journey because it was authentic, not perfect. Sometimes, a voice doesn't just sing to you, it stops you in your tracks. It touches parts of your soul you didn't know needed healing. For many in the gospel and Christian music worlds, Michael English was that voice. He was gritty yet smooth, powerful yet vulnerable, able to soar one moment and break down the next. Without a doubt, Michael was anointed, not just another singer. But his fall was as swift as his rise. His drop in popularity shocked many. It was rapid, public, and humiliating. His personal failures were met with judgment rather than understanding, in a world that often refuses to accept imperfection, especially in ministry. Those who once celebrated him quickly turned away. Yet, God did not. Michael's story isn't clean or simple, it's messy, raw, and at times uncomfortable. But it's also profoundly human. It proves that grace doesn't disappear when we fail and that failure isn't the end. For anyone who's ever stood on a mountaintop only to fall into the valley, this story speaks to those who have carried shame and wondered if their voice, mission, or calling could ever be trusted again. It's for those who know what it means to be rejected by people but not by God. Michael English didn't stay in the valley. Though he nearly gave up, he kept going. He endured a long, difficult healing process. From the ruins, he rebuilt himself. He returned to where grace had brought him, without feeling the need to prove anything to anyone. This story is about more than just a singer. It's about a soul. It's about redemption that says, "You're still mine, even after public failure." It's about a response rooted in mercy, not praise. So, if you're looking for more than headlines, craving true stories of restoration, and tired of cancel culture, lean in. Because Michael English's story is one worth believing and worth sharing. His voice was impossible to ignore. Michael English was born in 1962 in Kenansville, North Carolina, and raised in a devout Pentecostal family. Music was his lifeline from a young age in church. His voice stood out early on, showing he was more than just a singer. In the early 1980s, he joined the Southern gospel group the Singing Americans, where his powerful voice gained national attention. When he joined Bill Gaither's Gaither Vocal Band in 1985, his career soared. His passionate, soul-filled singing helped propel hits like "I Bowed on My Knees and Cried Holy" and "No Other Name But Jesus." He brought a unique R&B flavor to Southern gospel, broadening the group's sound and audience. For about a decade, Michael was the emotional heart of the Gaither Vocal Band. He received praise, was invited to perform at churches, and was beloved by his fans. He was a well-known figure in Christian music. However, success did not always bring stability, and Michael was facing struggles behind the scenes. The fall, disgrace, silence, and shame. In 1994, Michael English was at the peak of his solo career. Along with winning Artist of the Year at the Dove Awards, the biggest night in Christian music, he had just released a chart-topping album. Yet, everything unraveled within days. It was revealed that Michael had an affair with another Christian music artist outside of his marriage. He confessed to it. After being elevated to icon status and supported by the Christian Dev Awards, he was dropped by his record label. Concerts were canceled. Overnight, he went from being adored to being shamed. This was not just a career setback but also a spiritual and emotional crisis. It became one of the darkest times in Michael's life. He wrestled with guilt, lost his sense of worth, and tried to cope in an unforgiving society. Isolation and addiction followed. Michael tried to rebuild his life after the scandal, but grief and sorrow interfered. In his memoirs, he admitted becoming addicted to prescription pills. What began as treatment for a back injury turned into a way to handle deeper pain. This is perhaps the most relatable part of his journey. Behind the powerful voice was a man dealing with rejection, remorse, and a gradual loss of identity. Michael faded from the public eye for years. Occasionally, he would perform, but the joy was missing. He needed to heal his soul, not just his career, as the world had moved on. Honesty and faith marked the turning point. Michael reconnected with God, sought treatment, and started therapy, not for show, but as a personal surrender. He began openly discussing his mistakes, not to excuse them, but to expose the brokenness many hide beneath their successes. Slowly, he returned to the stage, this time as a wounded healer rather than a superstar. His voice gained new depth, shaped by time and hardship. His message shifted from image to integrity, from perfection to grace. Michael was welcomed back into the Gaither family in the late 2000s, not with fanfare, but with forgiveness. Bill Gaither, known for offering second chances, invited him to join Gaither homecoming events. Fans were moved to tears seeing Michael reunited with his bandmates, especially during songs like I Believe and A Hill Called Mount Calvary. It was not just about the music but also the powerful message of redemption. In the years since, Michael English has continued recording, touring, and sharing his story. Songs like Some People Change and Worship reveal a man who sings to connect rather than to impress. He often speaks about second chances, the dangers of pride, and the power of forgiveness. His concerts blend ministry and music. He openly shares how God never abandoned him, even when he had given up on himself. He talks as much as he sings. Michael English's legacy is more than just his voice, it's about restoration. He shows that when grace intervenes, failure doesn't disqualify you. Grace continues to sing through high notes, broken lyrics, and an endless chorus of mercy. Michael English's life is a gospel story in itself. His journey says yes to everyone who has ever failed, been judged, or wondered if they could be used again. You still can. His fall was public. He was honest in his breaking and his healing. He returned as a flawed man made whole, not as the flawless golden boy. Watching his voice rise again is a sacred experience. His comeback was quiet, not flashy. The emphasis was on testimony, not applause. He didn't come back demanding his old status. He came back wanting to serve the God who forgives. Isn't that the gospel? That our mistakes aren't the final chapter. That grace rewrites endings. Unlike shame, mercy endures. God specializes in restoring singers, not to glorify themselves, but to glorify Him. In Christ alone I place my trust, Michael once sang. Those words now carry deeper meaning. They are more than lyrics, they are a lifeline. They are truth. They are everything. Today, Michael English's singing holds the depth that only brokenness brings. It can be heard in every note, pain, healing, hope, not just sorrow, presence, not just performance. He is not the 90s Michael English. He has grown, not because of fame, but because of faithfulness. Perhaps that is the lesson for us all, failure doesn't have to be final. You can use your platform as a pulpit. You can write songs about your scars. Michael English may never forget his affair, but he doesn't have to. He is a living example of grace triumphing over guilt.